I don't like it at all. This is a sports network. This is a sports show. I'm not going to engage in politics or policy. This is strictly a basketball segment. This president has no business showing up in New York City. I am dead serious. It is selfish. It is narcissistic. It is ridiculous that he is coming to this game. I would say the same thing if it were Obama, George W., Clinton. I don't give a damn. We went back to Reagan. This is not a football stadium in some space in Texas where you got a whole bunch of outlays and all of this. This is the Garden. This is Midtown Manhattan. You have any idea what the congestion is going to be like in New York City here? I get off my radio show at 3 o'clock. I've been instructed that I got to go straight to the Garden for an 8:30 game because that's how bad traffic is going to be. And by the way, we talk about this, and I was on some conservative talk show this morning. I think the guy Sid Rosenberg, that I went off on him too, because I mean it's gotten to the point where if this president passed gas, people are gonna call it perfume. It's ridiculous. Certain things you just wrong about. You're the president of the United States. That means whenever you show up, it's nothing but congestion. It's Secret Service, it's local PD, it's security is compromised, and all of this other stuff. You don't do that in New York City.
When you mix sports and politics, you do so at your own peril. For instance, here's Stephen A. Smith before last night's tip-off at the Garden.
If the New York Knicks lose Game 3, this is on Donald Trump. You think I've been on him before? I'm going to be on his ass like back pockets. Like white on rice. You got no business doing this. He doesn't belong at this game. No president does. None of them. Democrat, Republican, Independent, I don't give a damn.
So the president, who is a New Yorker, showed up anyway, and that's not unusual. Trump has attended the Super Bowl, the U.S. Open, college football national championship. He's now the first sitting president to attend the NBA Finals. Trump is very much our sports president, has been. Yeah. Obama was an NBA guy, and he didn't go to games because he said it creates too much of a problem for the fans.
Absolutely. Look, I live on the west side of Manhattan. It was a mess yesterday.
I was about to say, how are you here?
Yeah. In this case, he was a jinx. There is no question
or
about it.
Mamdani could have been the jinx. One of the things people are accusing the administration of being in this moment when there's economic difficulty for people is tone deaf. The idea that, look, we're here, the regular schmoes who want to be involved in this thing, and he comes and just says, kind of let them eat cake, right? You can watch it on TV. And what was the sort of, I understand he's a fan, but does that contribute to the tone-deaf narrative?
Oh, I don't think this is tone-deaf at all. I think, first of all, a lot of those tickets, I mean, some of them are going for thousands of dollars. I think I saw one ticket price at $7,000. And the people who were buying them and who were courtside were a lot of people very popular among the left and celebrities, right? And I don't
Did they have motorcades and massive security? Or?
No, but those are the same people who for 4 years lectured us that things were fine under Joe Biden. I think the president, politics is obviously very hostile, but sports is one of those last remaining arenas where people do put politics aside.
Well, first of all, you said, people in sports normally, I hear you say that, normally they don't really care so much about politics. They absolutely cared about politics. This is such a rare moment for New Yorkers. People have waited their entire lives. The last time they won a chip was 1973.
Yeah, but isn't that why the president of the United States, who is a New Yorker, would want to be there?
No, in fact, you should not want to be there because you want to keep that same momentum going. New York is such a rare place. I've never seen fans like this before in my entire life, and they deserve to have this moment, and it was supposed to be uninterrupted, meaning we were supposed to have our watch parties around MSG. We were supposed to be in that moment, and I do believe, and the great Stephen A. Smith said just the other day, you played him, so he fully blames him, but so that was the vibe.
Yeah,
People were like, no,
you can't be the cooler Rihanna. You can't be on a streak and then have someone come in and cool the streak.
The Knicks lost for the first time in this entire postseason, and the watch parties outside MSG were canceled. Fans waited 2 hours just to get inside, and now the president of the United States is in a public back and forth with the most talked about sportcaster in America. Here's what we know. No fluff, just facts. Stephen A. Smith and President Trump used to have a real mutual respect. As recently as May 2025, President Trump called Stephen A. Smith a smart guy. Said he'd love to see him run for president, then came the NBA Finals. New York was up 2-0 on the Spurs, riding a 13-game playoff playoff win streak. President Trump was invited by Knicks owner James Dolan and became the first sitting U.S. president to attend an NBA Finals game. Now, before tip-off, Stephen A. Smith was direct. He called President Trump's presence selfish and narcissistic. Said he'd blame President Trump if the Knicks lost. Now, Victor Wembanyama put up 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks. The Spurs won 115-111, and New York's 13-game win streak was over. President Trump responded to Stephen A. Smith to say, and I quote, "You need high IQ to run for president, and I'm not sure Stephen has that," end quote. Stephen A. Smith fired back at the president on First Take on This Morning, and he said, "I could put my IQ against yours any day. I could ask you to debate me," end quote. Now, also interesting to note, the outdoor watch parties were shut down entirely. Fans with tickets waited 2 hours just to get inside, and when President Trump hit the Jumbotron, Madison Square Garden gave a thunderous mixed reaction. Now, coaches said the atmosphere didn't affect the teams, but the fans outside had no watch party. That means no street energy, none of the electricity that carried New York through 13 straight wins. Now, the Knicks still lead 2-1. Game 4 is Wednesday in New York. And now I shine the spotlight on you, the viewers watching this moment play out in real time. Here's the question I bring forward to the table for open discussion. What are your thoughts? Was President Trump a distraction for the Knicks, or were the Spurs just the better?
Politics and sports collided in spectacular fashion when President Donald Trump attended the NBA Finals, creating a firestorm of debate across television, social media, and sports talk show. Some fans celebrated the moment, others criticized it. And when the New Yorker Knicks lost, a familiar question emerged. Did Donald Trump present somehow affect the outcome of the game? Tonight, on Truth Verdict, we are separating emotion from reality and examine the facts behind one of the most talked about moments of the NBA Finals. Special thanks and full credit to Stitches for portion of the video clip and commentary used in this documentary.
Oh my goodness! President Donald Trump is going to be at Game 3 of the NBA Finals in New York. This will be the first time a sitting United States president will be at the NBA Finals. No former president has ever been to the finals when they were serving. Donald Trump will be the first president to attend while being the president of the United States of America. Oh my goodness!
This president has no business showing up in New York City. I am dead serious. It is selfish. It is narcissistic. It is ridiculous that he is coming to this game. I would say the same thing if it were Obama.
First of all, you're lying. You wouldn't have said this if it was Barack Obama, because you never said nothing to him before, because he's been to plenty of games. Not to mention the fact Donald Trump has been to plenty of games. Why is it all of a sudden now you have an issue with this? And by the way, who the hell do you think you are telling the president, the sitting president of the United States, who's from New York, that he can't go to a Knicks game, which is something he's been doing since forever? Who do you think you are, Stephen A. Smith? You've lost your rabbit-ass mind.
I thought great. I mean, I thought it was amazing, actually. You mean when they had the camera on me? I thought it was very good. Yeah, it was certainly amazing. It was. I think mostly cheers. It was loud and it was very enthusiastic.
So I think that was an accurate depiction. I mean, you wouldn't know unless you was at the game. I don't know. Anybody that's watching me right now was at the Knicks game, and you could tell me if it was anything different. I think that Donald Trump gets that reception in liberal places where most people cheer for him, some people boo for him. When they go to conservative places where people have, common sense, they cheer for him like nobody's business. And I've been to those events. I've been to UFC fights when Donald Trump was there, and literally your eardrums are about to pop how much people love Donald Trump. And to be honest, it's because Donald Trump is a good dude, man. You may disagree with his policies, but they framed him as somebody bad because he's a Republican, which is insane. Stephen A. Smith had something to say about it, and I was just on Stephen A. Smith's show. He did a really good job at having me and a liberal kind of go at it for about an hour. But this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say. I disagree with Stephen A. Smith, but I do think Stephen A. Smith is kind of being sarcastic when he says this. I know he knows basketball, he knows sports, and he know that Donald Trump wouldn't swing a game to make them lose in a situation where the other team really want to win too. It ain't just about one team. Roll the clip.
If for nothing else, he's getting in the way of the fervor and the rabidness and the enthusiasm of the Knicks fan base. San Antonio Spurs are a young team. When you have the weight of the state of New York draped down upon you, that might be too much to overcome. For all we know, Trump might have given them a boost. And I'm here to tell y'all right now, and I'm going to state it for the record. We lose tonight's game, I'm blaming the president. I'm blaming the president of the United States. I'm telling y'all that right now. I'm telling you that right now. I'm giving you a headline ahead of the ball. If the New York Knicks lose game 3, this is on Donald Trump.
All right, then Stephen A. Smith came back after the game. Oh, this is what Donald Trump had to say about Stephen A. Smith's statements, and then we'll play Stephen A. Smith's statements to Donald Trump after the game. Roll the clip.
Mr. President, ESPN commentator Stephen A. Smith, who was talking about running for president, said he would blame you if the Knicks lost the game. How do you respond to that?
I think he's a nice guy, but you need a certain aptitude to run for president. You need a high IQ. I'm not sure that Stephen has that. I don't think he does, actually.
Donald Trump is notorious. If you come after Donald Trump, or there's an inference that you come after Donald Trump, he's going to say you have low IQ. It's the craziest thing ever. I don't know why Donald Trump say this. I don't think that Stephen A. Smith has low IQ. I think that Donald Trump is a guru, right? I do think Donald Trump has an incredible IQ. But Donald Trump to be moving and shaking and negotiating the way he is at his age, he's still running around on planes, traveling here and there. I never seen a person his age doing stuff like that. The dude is legit. All right, this is Stephen A. Smith. Roll it.
I want to talk about it. I told y'all Trump would mess everything up. It's his fault. It's his fault. Yeah, Jalen Brunson didn't pass the ball. He shot twice as much as everybody else. OG Anunoby had 28 points and 13 shots. Jalen Brunson had 32 points and 25 shots. It was like he was trying to win MVP. It's not how they played the first 2 games. But it's all about Trump. Trump ruined this. President Donald Trump showed up here and disrupted the vibe, disrupted the momentum, disrupted everything. And the New York Knicks faltered because of it. It's all his fault. That's all I have to say.
Now, I'm a basketball fans out there. I ain't never watched a lick of basketball. I couldn't care less, to be honest. And nothing against it. I think basketball is a great sport. I think all those guys out there gunning and playing hard, and I respect a lot of guys in the NBA. Now, in WNBA, I respect one team and 2 players, and y'all know who they are. But this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say about his rebuttal to Donald Trump saying he has low IQ. Roll the clip.
You want to talk about IQ? I could say I put my IQ up against yours any day of the week. I could go one better. I could ask you why you've been running from me the last year since I wanted to talk to you. I could ask you to debate me since you think you that dude, okay? We can go a myriad of ways with all of this, but I'm not going to let you off the hook because none of that is important. I do appreciate the fact that you called me a nice guy because don't tell anybody. But I actually am a very nice guy until you tug at me a little bit. And then after that, I got to show my other side. And my other side came out last night when I recognized that businesses that are accustomed to being patronized were compromised by you because you showed up. The crowd that surrounded the Madison Square Garden and its surrounding areas, you compromised. I thought you were about the economy. I thought you were about helping New Yorkers because you love New York. I thought you were about making money for people. What happened to the parking garages? How much money did they make? What happened to the local restaurants in the immediate vicinity of Madison Square Garden? How much money did they make? We know you've made a lot of money. We know you keep making money. But have the New York Knicks benefited? The answer to that would happen to be no. This is a sports show, so I won't go any further than that other than to say Brunson played better when you weren't there. Mikal Bridges played better when you weren't there. Josh, Karl Anthony Towns played better when you weren't there. Landry Shamet played better when you weren't there. The crowd was festive, hyped, and more intimidating when you weren't there. Businesses were thriving before you showed up. Parking garages were being fed before you showed up. There was noise reverberating off the walls of Madison Square Garden before you showed up. And this is what you've done. I thought you were a New Yorker, Mr. President. I thought you cared. I thought it mattered to you. Gotham City, the New York Knicks, the erasing of a 53-year drought. I thought that mattered to you. Evidently it didn't. And you know how we know? Because you're actually talking about coming back for game 4. Why would you do that? It's clear you need your rest, isn't it? The New York Knicks need it too. Give New Yorkers a break. Stay at the White House. Go to Mar-a-Lago. Go to Bedminster. Do whatever it is that you gotta do. Just stay the hell away from the New York Knicks for the rest of this series. Pretty please with sugar on top.
All right, let's play this out real quick. I love you, Stephen A., but this is crazy. So every time the New York Knicks lost, Donald Trump wasn't there. So you blame Donald Trump for every loss they had during the season? It ain't they fault. It ain't Donald Trump fault that Brunson. I don't know. I didn't watch the game, but you kind of saying Brunson choked. That ain't got nothing to do with Donald Trump. And to be honest, I would blame Knicks fans. If y'all wasn't so silly, then maybe you'd be cheering for Donald Trump and you'd be excited and you would have elevated the atmosphere and y'all would have won the game. If you let Donald Trump lose the game for you, you crazy. If you're a Knicks fan and you mad at Donald Trump for showing up at the game, the president of the United States of America, you a choke artist. I'm just putting it out there. You can say whatever you want, man. You come to play. The basketball players ain't got nothing to do with who show up in the stands. The basketball players really, in my opinion, has nothing to do with people whether they cheer for them or not. Because the fans are not at practice, are they? Every single fan that showed up to the Knicks game on at every single Knicks game, even when they lose at home, cannot blame Donald Trump on that.
Controversy. Before the game ever tripped off, critics argue that president should stay away. One commentator declared, "This president has no business showing up in New York City. It is selfish. It is ridiculous that he's coming to this game." The criticism immediately sparked backlash. Supporters point out that Trump is a long-life New Yorker. He was raised in Queens, attended countless sporting events over the decades, and he has associated with New York sports culture for most of his life. Many also noted that previous presidents attended sports events without generating similar outrage. The question quickly shifts from basketball to politics. Was this criticism about sports, or was it about Donald Trump? One of the most interesting reactions came from Stephen Smith. To his credit, Smith later clarified that he wasn't personally offended by Trump's response to his comments. In his own words, people criticize Trump every day, and since he has been criticized Trump himself, the president has every right to respond. This is a fair position. Public figure criticizing politicians responding. That is a part of democracy process. But Smith's deeply concern was rooted in sports phantom. He argued that true fans understand how fragile momentum can be. For Kickers fans who have been waited more than 5 decades for championship glory, every detail feels important. Every superstitious matter, every distraction feels dangerous. Even when emotion runs high, fans often search for explanation when things go wrong. Here is where facts matter. Did Donald Trump attendant cause kick to lose? There is no evidence to support that claim. Basketball games are decided by execution on court. Player makes shots or miss them. Coaches make adjustments or fail to. Defender uphold or collapse. Those factors determine championship. President sitting courtside does not score points, grab rebound, or defend pick or rolls. The reality is that sports fans often look for lucky charms when teams win and scapegoats when teams lose. This is part of sport culture, but correlation is not accusation. Just because Trump attend and the kick lose does not mean one caused the other. This story highlighted something bigger happening in America today. Increasingly, everything becomes political. Even a basketball game, even a fans attending a sporting event, even a lifelong New Yorker supporting a New York team. The result is that sports conversation become political battle instead of discussion about what happened on the court. Whether you support Donald Trump or oppose him, the principle should remain the same. A city president has the right to attend a basketball game, just as previous presidents attended sports events before him, and fans have the right to criticize that decision. This is how free speech works. The truth verdict is simple. Donald Trump attended at the NBA final did not cause Knicks to lose. That claim belongs to the world of sports superstitions and not factual analysis. Stephen Smith's comments reflected the anxious of the passionate Knicks fans, desperate to see their team win after decades of disappointment. But championships are won and lost by players and coaches, not by spectators in the stand. At the end of the day, politics made headlines. Basketball determined the results. If you enjoyed this analysis and want more fact-based documentary that separate emotion from reality, please support the channel, like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Truth Verdict. And turn on notification so you won't miss the next episode. Until next time, seek the facts, question the narrative, and always demand the truth.